worked on a furniture project in a while. But really the basement is clogged up with a lot of furniture pieces. It's not really the smalls that are taking up a ton of space. It's a lot of furniture projects that I promised myself I would work on. Today's project is this round pedestal oak table. Now I got this from auction, I believe last year, for around like 60 bucks. And all I did to really prepare it for my booth was clean it up, oil it up, and tighten up the screws. It's a cute table. It's got that awesome old look to it. The wood is patinaed a little bit. You can tell it's been well loved and used, but probably took it in with a little too much damage for the price that I was asking. I even lowered the price at one point and I got no bites. So I think it's time to zhuzh it up a little bit. I think we can improve this table and maybe sell it for more than what I was originally even asking for. Things that need to be addressed is that there are a lot of heat rings on the table and moisture marks from like a sweaty glass sitting down on the table for too long. So the plan for this piece is I want to strip the top entirely. I'm going to sand it down, and then we're going to paint the base and the skirt of the table black. Now, I have sold round pedestal tables in the past, but the ones that always sell the quickest are the ones that are either painted black completely or the base is black. Actually, you guys might remember a table that I took in right before Vlogmas last year. It was this really cool black table that had a hand-painted detail on it, and it had just a whole lot of character. It looked kind of rustic too, and that thing sold immediately. I don't think I can replicate the same amount of character that that table had onto this one, but at the very least we can improve it and make it more sellable. So first part, stripping the top.
Quiet voices in the night. Time is running out of sight. A lonely wind is passing by. Tries to carry all the whispers that it finds. The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream.
The table already looks so much better after I strip sanded the top, and I did a light sanding on the sides and on the table base as well, just because we wanted to have a nice scuff sanding before we put any kind of paint product on it. But man, what a difference. The oak stripped down looks beautiful, especially where all the knots are on the tabletop. I would like for the top to look as close to this as possible, but I know as soon as we put on the Minwax top coat that it's going to kind of brighten it up a bit again. The next step to this project is actually going to be to lighten the top a little more. Now, I was considering doing this with bleach, but I think instead I'm going to use paint mix, kind of like I would a stain, to get a similar effect. So what I have done with the color Swiss Coffee, which you might remember from the antique booth reset that I did at the beginning of this year, I had some paint left over, and I mixed 1 part paint and 1 part water to get this really soupy, brothy-like consistency. It's probably kind of hard to see in the camera, but we're going to brush this on, let it sit for a second, and then wipe it off just like you would do it with a stain. And then we're gonna let it dry before we do any kind of top coat, but just 1 layer should get us the look that we're going for. Alright, so that was just a little too opaque, so I'm gonna add some more water to this and see if we can't dilute that down. Probably better to do 1 part paint, 2.5, 2 parts water, probably closer to what you want. That's better.
I believe to believe is to see how the present comes from dreams. Up in a painted cup, I will paraglide across the sky. Let flowers and tiny hearts shaping a line in the cup of ours. So sweet like a honeybee can buzz around a honey tree. Up in a painted cup, right in the sky like a firefly. Like a firefly. I believe to believe is to feel the fire grow within. I believe to believe is to see how the present comes from dreams. Color in my love, love, love. Color in my love, love, love.
I actually ended up giving the top just a quick sand with some 216 grit sandpaper. I just folded up a piece and then went around the top a few times, especially in between the slats and the table, just because I felt like the transition between the slats were a little harsh and I wanted it to look a little more uniform, and just to knock out the extra opaqueness. I felt like there were parts of the tabletop where it was a little too opaque for what I was looking for. I wanted the grain to come out more, and I'm really just looking for like a wash finish, nothing too white. So I sanded that, just a quick consistent like sand over the top, and I really like how it came out. It looks way better than what it looked like when I didn't sand. And I unscrewed the top and I flipped it over, and we're gonna work on the base and the top separately. Next, we're gonna start painting the base and the skirt that goes around the table. And I was originally gonna do black. I talked about how well black base tables sell at the beginning of this, but I think I'm going to do something just a little more subtle and not as stark of a contrast. I went into my paint stash and I don't have much. I have some more of that Urbane bronze that I was planning on putting in my booth on a few more walls, but I don't think I want to use that either. Here's a sample of it, and it's just got maybe a little too much green for what I'm looking for, maybe a little too gray also. This right here is actually Black Fox. And then this here I found in the paint stash, but it doesn't have a name. So it looks very close to Black Fox, but Black Fox just looks a little darker. So I have nearly a whole sample of this color, whatever it is, right here. And I just have maybe 3/4 of a sample of Black Fox. And so I think the full sample is just barely enough to do the table base and the skirt around the tabletop. So we're gonna attempt to use this. It's not too brown. I don't think it's too brown. I think it's just dark enough to almost look black, but not quite black, just a little more, just like a whisper of black is in there. You know what I mean? And so that's the next part. We're gonna start painting this base.
I know it's nothing new, but it's so good to see you. We do this every day, and I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. Oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, I just feel so lucky. Still can't believe you love me. I hope it never ends. This being more than friends. Yeah.
All right, y'all, it's been a day since we completed that last step. And before we move on to what I want to do next, I just wanted to give this a little time to cure and to sit and fully dry. So while we were waiting for that to happen, I took over 10 items to the antique mall for the week, 10 new items out of the doom pile. 6 of them were concrete planters. It was a very gardeny spring little mini collection, but I think all of it will transition really well into fall. And I'd been wanting to change that front table up anyways. I didn't feel like it had any kind of pull. And so when I took the 10 items in, I cleared off that table, left a few things, but then put a lot of those concrete planters up there, which is kind of heavy, but I mean, it's an old farm table. I do have it for sale, but I don't mind if it gets a little roughed up from trying to sell inventory on it. And so I put all the most of the concrete planters up there. It just has a really romantic garden feel. And I think all of that will work so well with what I'm planning to take over for the fall reset. I'm very excited about it. So I felt great accomplishing that. And now we can move on to finishing this project. So the next thing I'm going to do is do a light sanding. Now, once I do this light sanding, if I like how it looks, I'm calling it. I'm just gonna put a protective coat on top. But if I do this light sand and I don't like it, or I feel like the grain's coming through too much, maybe it wasn't a thick enough first coat, then I'll do a second, and then we'll do a light sand again. So this is kind of a deciding factor. I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. I just want a little bit of the edges to show. I don't want it to look super clean and done on the bottom. I feel like it'll be too different from the top. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure. I'll show you what it looks like right now though. It's a little lighter than I was hoping for. You see this right here? This is kind of, I don't know, maybe I want to do it a little more opaque. We'll have to see how sanding it with a very light grit sandpaper will make it look, and then we'll make a decision. But I like it. I'm hoping that it doesn't look too farmhousey with the top on it. We'll see.
Gonna let the sun shine in today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my arms give out. I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. And I will leave my windows open so that I can hear the sound of talking, the wind blowing in the trees. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can.
All right, y'all, so we're gonna move on to the next part of the process, and I'm trying to decide which top coat I want to do on the top and on the base. And I have two options here. One is the Minwax Polycrilic and Clear Ultra Flat. Both of these are water-based top coats, and then this one is their clear satin. And I think I'm going to do the clear satin on the base, and then I'm going to do what's left of this Clear Ultra Flat on the top.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in the day. I'm gonna let the past be filled with smoke. And I will try to fix what has been broken and take this weight off my shoulders, 'cause I know yesterday ain't coming back. I'm gonna let the past stay in the cold. I will listen to the ocean, let its unsaid words be spoken, and I'll let my mind be carried by the waves. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light. Oh, and I'll try to spread my wings so I can fly. Oh, and the darkness starts to fade. Feels like things are gonna go my way. I'm gonna let the sun shine in the day.
He just said it looks like a cheap remake.
I did not. There's no proof of that. darkness like a shark.
It's not exactly what I was going for, but I like how it turned out. I think it's really gonna look awesome in the booth with the fall reset. And if it doesn't sell, I can always change it. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. The top came out beautifully. It looks really light on camera, but in person, it has a really pretty rich undertone to it. You can see all the beautiful grain, you can see the knots. Now, something that I wasn't able to correct is kind of some of these boards. They're a little warped out of place, not to a horrible degree. I don't really know how to correct that other than maybe like nailing it in or adding another place for the screw in the skirt, but that might be a little bit out of my pay grade. I don't know if I really want to mess with that all too much. I'd be really worried about splitting the skirt and the wood, and so it doesn't really hurt the functionality of it too much. Just might be a little annoying. I would still purchase this table this way, so I think others will as well, especially for the price point that I'm going to put on it. Even though I did refinish it, it's not perfect, and so I'm going to price it accordingly. I'll keep y'all updated on its sales status and when it sells, if it does sell. With the top coat, when applying the top coat, that Minwax polycrilic, the water-based, dries very quickly. So as I was applying it to the top, I really couldn't move my camera around too much because I really just needed to focus on what I was doing, because it just, I mean, especially when you're working on a project and it's this hot out, it's like in the high 80s right now, if not in the 90s. When applying that top coat, you really just want to work quickly. It's going to dry very fast, and you don't want to go over it too many times, or else you're going to start seeing a bunch of brush strokes. It's just barely there, but man, it looks gorgeous. It's so, it feels so nice and just smooth and soft. Oh, it's beautiful. I can't believe how well it turned out. I gotta start styling it now, right? Like, can we just start styling it right now?